Hello Internet, I'm Jaden Edwards, and in today's video I'm going to try and make a website in 30 minutes. Now why am I doing this? Why must I put such a ridiculous time frame on making a website? Well, I keep seeing sponsorship deals for website making programs, and whilst yes, they do make things easier, making a website isn't all that different from making games. And if you have any experience with programming, making a website is actually a really fun project that has some merit. Even if you don't know programming, website design is actually a really great way to start. Now before I dive in, there are two things I had ready to go: Visual Studio Code and a domain and hosting service ready to go via FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, meaning all I had to do to publish the website was drag the finished files across onto the server. There are, however, heaps of options available for buying domains, and thanks to today's sponsor, I'm just kidding, just Google it and you'll find some. So the style of the website I'm going for is a Linktree style, which I've only just now realized is an Aussie-based company. So large avatar, lots of social links, probably a YouTube video feed too. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you can see, I have two images in the folder ready to go: my logo and my background. And oh wait, what's that in the background? Is that a new games folder full of games I'm gonna play on my Twitch stream that happens every Tuesday night, 8 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time? That's right, it is. The link to that will be in the description below. The first thing I do is create a HTML file called home, and using Visual Studio's ! shortcut, pre-fill the page with the bare minimum I need to create a HTML page. Next, I create a CSS file, which is the file that contains all of the information to make the web page look pretty. Think of the HTML file as the content and the CSS as the rules, telling the content how to display. Next, I start a live server, which allows me to make changes to the HTML file and see those changes happen in real time. I believe this is an extension available through their marketplace thing. Next, I start trying to make changes to the background and apply my background image. However, for some reason, it took me a couple of minutes to realize that I hadn't actually linked my HTML and CSS files together. So any changes I was making to the CSS file wasn't actually being made. I even went into the Chrome Developer Console to see what was going on, and this is what made me realize rookie mistake there. Now that the CSS file was linked, you can see the background image is tiling nicely on the whole page, but I don't want that. So I turn off the repeat and stretch the image to cover the entire window. I want a static background image effect, so I just added some rules to make that happen. The next thing I do is start getting the meat of the page going, the content section if you will. I don't want it to take up the whole page, and I want it to be centered. I know I'll have a header of some kind with my logo, so I start putting those elements onto the page so I can work out how they will look. I interrupt this scheduled programming to bring you an announcement. We have a community of over 200 people already. That is absolutely crazy. I really appreciate you all, and to celebrate, I've created a Discord server so we can all hang out and chat and stuff. I would be lying if I said I knew how to use Discord, but I made a server, so feel free to join using the link in the description below and tell me how it works. Anyways, let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Next, I start populating the social links, because what is a Linktree-like website if I don't have links to absolutely everything you could possibly think of? Now this blue color is just so you can see the actual clickable area of the buttons. It is no way the final product, and what I do later is go back and grab the colors of those social medias and chuck them in. Now you can start to see how this is all going to take shape. My stupid face there, header text there, and everything below. It's a pretty simple layout, and I probably spent way too much time making these buttons look nicer. As you'll see, I'll go back a few times. Once I was relatively happy with the way they looked, I removed the default styling for the links, that yucky blue color and underline effect, and made it so the underline only appeared when I was hovering over the buttons. I still think underlines are important to show something is clickable, but in this instance, they're in a button. So the temptation is to hover over the button first, and then you see it as a hyperlink. Next, I wanted a button effect when I hovered over the buttons, and I achieved this by using the translate function and applying a box shadow. It sort of mimics what a button would look like in 3D. As you can see, I can't remember everything, and quite often need to resort to a quick Google to remember how to do something. In this instance, I was mucking around with the horizontal alignment of the logo and the header text, as it just wasn't sitting right with me. Again, I am purely wasting time here, trying to make it look good, forgetting I only have 30 minutes to get this finished. I end up not being able to get the social links done in time because of this. Again, back to the internet, because I just can't get these two header items to sit right with me. Either they are too far apart or too close together. I end up creating another div to contain the two links of text and call it a day. I made the words in the buttons a little bigger and mucked around with their exact sizing. Again, I spent way too much time trying to make this look good and look good for both desktop and mobile. I'm a big fan of mobile responsive websites, and for some reason I thought it'd be a good idea to add that in with this time limit. I start to add the colors of some social networks, but don't end up getting them all in. I'm sure you don't need to see me go through each of my social networks anyway. I Google itch.io and using the color picker of the Google Chrome Inspect tool, got the right color. I then needed to change that god awful font and went to my tried and true Montserrat from Google Fonts. I could have gotten fancy with heading and paragraph fonts, but realized I was running really short on time. I worked out how to get the embed option for a playlist and brought that code into the page. The annoying thing with iframes though is that they need exact height and width values, and quite often when you want them to take up the full width, they don't keep their aspect ratio. Lucky a quick Google found a neat little CSS trick that using padding and positioning let the iframe keep its aspect ratio whilst also taking up the whole width of its parent container or div. The last thing I had to do was scale the font sizing to the size of the device, which is actually a really funny thing because you don't want massive text on desktop and tiny text on mobile. Again, why I decided it needed to be mobile responsive, I don't know. And that's pretty much it. A fully functioning mobile responsive website done in 30 minutes. Now, I am definitely no web developer, so don't go telling everyone I taught you how to make a website. I have dabbled in website design a bit and have learnt from W3 Schools, which has a really cool in-browser editor, which is great if you want to dip your toes in the water. And with that, the video comes to a close. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.